Welcome back, Focus Learners. I'm absolutely pumped to share today's explainer with you all. If you've ever looked at the world's self-made billionaires, the multimillionaires, the elite investors out there, and kind of wondered, okay, what exactly are they doing differently behind closed doors? Well, you are in the right place. Today, we're doing a complete visual teardown of the exact financial machine used by the top 1%. We're going to strip away the noise, skip the vague advice, and look directly at the blueprint. We call this the wealth architecture. So grab your notebooks, give me your undivided attention, and let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive right into this mindset shift, because honestly, everything starts right here. Just look at the contrast. To the average person, money is basically just something you trade your life for, right? You work, you get a paycheck, you save whatever pennies you can, and you just kind of hope for the best. It's a linear, exhausting process. But the 1% view? No way. It's completely different. To the ultra-wealthy, wealth is a literal machine. It's a carefully engineered, automated, 24/7 financial ecosystem. They aren't relying on their physical presence to make money. Once their system is turned on, it just runs itself. So here's our roadmap for today. First, Engine 1, the high-yield cash flow engine. Then, Engine 2, the multiplier engine. Next up, Engine 3, the defensive asset shield. And finally, Step 4, activating the machine. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, Engine 1, the high-yield cash flow engine. Think about a high-performance sports car for a second. It requires massive amounts of raw fuel, right? Well, in finance, that fuel is active cash flow. And a really common trap is trying to build wealth on low active income. Like, let's say you save $1,000, you get a stellar 10% return, and boom, you make $100 a year. Congratulations, you can buy a very nice dinner for one. While compound interest is absolutely a mathematical miracle, let's be real, that $100 isn't going to buy your freedom or change your lifestyle. Now, sharply contrast that with this number. $100,000. So how do we get there? Actually, it's the exact same 10% return, but this time it's on a principal of $1 million. Principal size absolutely matters. The rate of return is kind of irrelevant if the amount of fuel you're putting into the engine is just too small. You need a massive initial principal to generate those life-changing returns.
Therefore, your first engine absolutely must be obsessed with maximizing the velocity of your active inflows. You really can't rely on a standard corporate salary cap anymore. In our modern digital economy, you've got to leverage asymmetric opportunities. We're talking about vehicles like high-ticket digital freelancing or consulting, where your specialized knowledge commands premium pricing, or setting up automated digital content platforms and media assets that literally work for you while you sleep, or even scalable e-commerce models and software-as-a-service products. Things like this detach your income from the physical hours you work, which allows your cash flow to scale rapidly.
So the crucial point I want you to take away here is this. The sole purpose of Engine 1 is to generate an aggressive, massive surplus of capital every single month. Let me be clear, this cash flow you're generating, it is not for buying luxury watches, upgrading your car, or inflating your lifestyle. No, it is strictly raw fuel that we are going to inject directly into the next phase of our wealth architecture. Which brings us to Phase 2, Engine 2, the multiplier engine. Okay, so with surplus capital pumping in from Engine 1, you've got to immediately deploy it. This is where the true math of the 1% really comes into play. Instead of storing cash in a depreciating bank account, just sitting in fiat currency that slowly loses value to inflation, the wealthy use a strict formula. As elite wealth managers know, future wealth is determined by your principal deposit, multiplied by your rate of return, and compounded over time in motion. They literally force their excess capital to multiply through the sheer power of global economic growth. Now, what's really interesting about this is how they optimize that growth. The 1% actively divide this multiplier engine into two very distinct asset classes. On one side, we have systematic growth assets. These are your broad market index funds, your ETFs, and blue chip equities. They're low maintenance, highly diversified, and offer a predictable 8 to 12% historical return. This is what beats inflation and builds a rock-solid foundation. But on the other side, that's the accelerator. Asymmetric risk assets. We're talking about a controlled percentage of capital put into private equity, early-stage digital startups, or emerging tech. Sure, there's risk, but the downside is strictly limited to your initial investment, while the upside potential is 10x or even 100x. Engine 2 literally never sleeps. It just keeps multiplying your fuel. All right, moving right along to Phase 3, Engine 3, the defensive asset shield. Listen, making money and multiplying it means absolutely nothing if you can't actually keep it. Amateurs play offense. They're constantly chasing the next hot stock, only thinking about how much money they can make. But true financial masters, they are obsessed with defense. It's like Warren Buffett's famous 2 rules of investing. Rule 1, never lose money. Rule 2, never forget Rule 1. True masters know that a sudden economic downturn, crazy high inflation, or a market crash can wipe out an entire net worth overnight, so they prioritize defense. So what is this shield actually made of? Well, it's built out of hard, tangible, highly secure assets with real intrinsic value. There are 3 main pillars here. First, prime income-producing real estate. Land and property provide physical security, amazing tax advantages, and stable monthly rental yields. Second, hard commodities and precious metals. Things like gold and silver. These are your historical hedges against central bank inflation and currency devaluation. And third, high-grade debt instruments, like government-backed bonds or premium corporate debt. These guarantee fixed payouts regardless of what the stock market is doing. Basically, these act as massive financial shock absorbers. When the market panics, Engine 3 stands firm. And even better, it spits out independent cash flow so you have liquid capital to buy discounted assets while everyone else is just terrified.
And finally, step 4, activating the machine. Let's see how this all builds together. Here is the chronological flow of capital, the continuous looping heartbeat of the infinite wealth machine. Step 1. Engine 1 generates a high-velocity capital surplus through scalable digital leverage. Step 2. That capital flows directly into Engine 2, where it's multiplied exponentially using compounding and asymmetric equity. Step 3. The multiplied wealth is then locked away and protected in Engine 3, solidified in hard, stable, cash-flowing assets. And those hard assets, well, they generate their own cash flow, which feeds right back into the system. It is a predictable, mathematical framework that loops continuously. Guys, this is the exact setup that separates those who work for a living from those who simply own the system.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a pretty stark question to help you analyze your own financial blueprint. Ask yourself honestly, which of these 3 engines is completely missing from your life right now? Do you lack the cash flow fuel? Are you failing to multiply it? Or is your wealth unprotected? Identify that missing gear, build it, and own your freedom. Keep learning, keep focusing, and I'll catch you guys in the next explainer.